series of the operating system. I am your instructor Varshata. Let's start our lecture series. So topics to be covered in today's lecture, that is round robin algorithm. Okay, in last lecture we have learned about the FCFS and shortest job algorithm. So today we will learn how round robin algorithm will work. Now here, first of all, what is round robin? Okay, so the name of this algorithm comes from the round robin principles. Okay, where each person gets an equal chance for something in turns. Okay, so round robin algorithm, that means persons are seated in the circle and each and every person will get chance for any work. So that is what the round robin principle. So on that principle, our round robin algorithm works. Okay. So it is the oldest and simplest scheduling algorithm which is mostly used for multitasking. Okay. It is mostly used for multitasking. Now all of you are about the what is multitasking. At the same time, multiple jobs are there in the execution. That is known as the multitasking. Okay, so basically this round robin algorithm is used for the multitasking purpose. In round robin scheduling, each ready task runs turn by turn. So whenever the turn of the next job is there, that job should be ready. If the job is not ready, another job will be selected for the execution. So in round robin scheduling, each ready task runs turn by turn only in cyclic queue for the limited time slice. Okay, here in round robin, we provide a particular time slice for each and every job. That is also known as time quantum. This algorithm also offers the starvation-free execution for the processes. Now, what happened in shortest job? We are selecting the shortest job again for the execution. So, if the job is there which has the longest burst time, that job has to wait until and unless all the shortest job will complete its execution. Okay, so every time that longest job will go for the starvation. So here that the same thing will not happen over here because each and every job will get the time for the execution. So no starvation is there in the round robin algorithm. Now here how we are able to implement the round robin algorithm. So decision mode, first preemptive. It is a preemptive because round robin algorithm, each and every job get turns. Okay, so it is what the preemptive. When quantum time is over or process completes its execution, whichever is earlier, it starts a new job. So that means what? It is a preemptive in nature. After the time slice expire, we preempt the process from the CPU and new job will go for the execution. So round robin algorithm is based on the preemptive nature. Then selection of the new job is as per FCFS scheduling algorithm. Okay, so selection of the new job is on the basis of the FCFS. Now all of you are about the first come first serve. So based on the first come first serve, we will select the process for the execution. Okay, now implementation strategy. So the strategy can be implemented by using the circular FIFO queue. Again, in the decision mode, we have discussed that the selection of the new job is as per the FCFS. So the strategy is implemented by using the circular FIFO queue. If any process comes or process releases the CPU or process is preempted, it moves to the end of the queue. That means when any process completes its execution, it will left the queue. When process time slices expire or process is preempted because of any reason, it will come at the end of the queue. Okay, so when CPU becomes free, a process from the first position in a queue is selected for the execution. Okay, so got it how the process will go for the execution and how CPU will select the process for the execution. Now, what will be the selection criteria for the process? Each selected process is assigned a time interval called time quantum or time slice. Okay, we assign a time quantum or time slice to each and every process. That means we define a particular time slice. For that particular time slice, the process will go for the execution. Okay, so process is allowed to run only for this time interval. So suppose we have specified the time quantum 3. Then for 3 millisecond process will execute. After the 3 millisecond process will be preempted. Got it? Here two things are possible, which are: first, the process is either blocked or terminated before the quantum has elapsed. In this case, the CPU switching is done and another process is scheduled to run. Okay, this is the first criteria. Now, what is the second criteria? Second, the process needs CPU burst longer than the time quantum. In this case, the process is running at the end of the time quantum. Got it? Now it will be preempted and move to the end of the queue. Okay, so CPU will be allocated to the another process. So this will be the selection criteria for the round robin algorithm. Now let's see the example for round robin algorithm, so you will have the better idea about this. Here the same example that we have taken in FCFS and in shortest job, same example we are taking over here for the round robin algorithm. So you should have the better idea about it. Now how to draw this timeline chart, let's see. And here we have defined the time quantum is the 4 millisecond. So first of all, start with the 0. Our time quantum is 4 and first process that arrives at the time 0. So first P0 will be go for the execution. So P0 will be assigned to the CPU for the 4 millisecond as we have set the time quantum, that is 4 millisecond. Now what will happen? Here you can see when the process P0 is in the execution for the 4 milliseconds. Now another process P1 comes. So P1 has the burst time, that is the 6 milliseconds, and another process P2 comes, that P2 has the burst time, that is the 2 milliseconds. Now first P1 comes, so P1 will go for the execution and P0 has completed its execution for the 4 millisecond. So now what will happen? P0 will go at the end of the queue. So here you can see the P0, it's at the end of the queue. Okay. So after that P1 will go for the execution. P1 has the 6 millisecond burst time. So now 4 milliseconds, for the 4 milliseconds P1 executes. So what will happen? Here you can see now the chance for the another process, that is P2. P2 is the 2 milliseconds. Now when the P1 is there in the execution, another process P3 came. Okay, so what will happen? P3 will be in the queue after P0 and after P3, P1 will be there. When P1 will be preempted, after a P3, P1 will be joined the queue. So now P2 is there for the 2 millisecond, P0 is there for the 6 millisecond, P3 is there for the 4 millisecond, and after that P1 that is preempted, that will be there for the 2 milliseconds. So now P2 will go for the execution as our time slice is a 4 millisecond, but thus P2 required just 2 milliseconds, so it will just use the 2 millisecond CPU. So here you can see P2 for the 10 millisecond. Now here you can see P2 has completed its execution. So now it will not join the queue again. So what will happen? P0, P3 and P1. So 6, 4, 2. P0 time is 6, P3 is 4, again it is in queue, and P1 is again in queue. So now what will happen? P0 will go for the execution. So again from the 6, 4 millisecond executions will be there. So again 2 millisecond execution is left. So again here you can see the queue in queue. P3 is now is there for the execution. After that P1 and after that P0. So now P3 will go for the execution and P3 will execute its process. So what will happen? Again it required just 4 milliseconds for the execution and our time quantum is 4 milliseconds. So what will happen? It completes its execution. Now P1 and P0 is there. So first of all, P1 will go for the execution. So P1, it requires just 2 milliseconds CPU and it completes its task. After that, P0 that required again 2 milliseconds, so it completes its task. So here you can see. So this is the timeline chart for the round robin algorithm. So now let's find out the finish time, turnaround time, etc. So first of all, how to find the finish time? Okay, so how to find the finish time? From this timeline chart, you are able to find out the finish time for this. So for the P0, finish time is 22. From timeline chart, you can identify. For P1, for P1 finish time is 20. For P2, finish time is 10. And for P3, finish time is 18. Now, how to find out the turnaround time? So to find out the turnaround time, you have to minus the arrival time from the finish time. So here arrival time for process P0 is 0 and finish time is what? 22. So 22 minus 0, again its turnaround time is what? 22. So same way for the process P1, its finish time is 20 and its arrival time is 1. So its turnaround time is 19. So same way you can find out for the process P2, its finish time turnaround time is 7 and for process P3, its turnaround time is 30. So now how you are able to find out the waiting time? So waiting time, that means what? Turnaround time minus burst time. So you have to minus the burst time from the turnaround time. So you will get the waiting time for each and every process. So for process P0, what will be the waiting time? So here you can see its turnaround time is 22 and its burst time is 10. So 22 minus 10, you will get the 12. That means its waiting time is a 10 milliseconds in entire execution of all these processes. Same way you can find out for the process P1, its turnaround time is 19 and its burst time is 6. So from 19 minus 6 you will get the 13. So like this way you can find out the waiting time for process P2 and for process P3. Now, all of you know about this turnaround time and waiting time. So now what we have to do? We have to find out the average turnaround time and average waiting time. So if you will find out the average turnaround time, here you can see the turnaround time, that is 20, 19, 7 and 13. Add all this thing and divide it by 4. So you will get the 15.25 millisecond. So that will be the average turnaround time. Now average waiting time, that will be the 12, 13, 5 plus 9 and divided by 4. So you will get the answer 9.75 millisecond. So this will be the round robin algorithm for the finding the average turnaround time and for finding the average waiting time. Okay, now what are the advantages of this? So simplest, fairest and most widely used algorithm. So it is very easy. You just have to define the time quantum and based on time quantum you have to assign the processes for the execution. Got it? Now what are the disadvantage of this? Okay, so disadvantage, that means the context switch overhead is here. Why? Because every time we have to preempt the process and we have to assign the new process for the execution. Okay, so every time context switching is there. All of you know about the context switching that we have learned in the detail. So when context switch occur in process control block, the state of that particular process have to be saved and again the another newly arrived process for the execution. So from the state of that process the execution will be resumed, and every time same process will be performed when any process will come for the execution and when any process will left because of the time slice expired. Okay, so context switch overhead is here. Then determination of time quantum is too critical. Why? Because if you will select the big time quantum, then also it is a problematic. And if you will select the time quantum that is very less, for example 1 millisecond, then again it is a very problematic. Why? So if you will select the 1 millisecond, then what will happen? Every time context switching will be there after the 1 millisecond. Okay, so here it is already written that it is too short If it is too short, it causes the frequent context switches and the lower CPU efficiently. Okay, and if it is too long, it causes the poor response for short interactive process. Okay, for example, you have defined the 10 millisecond quantums, then what will happen? The process that requires the 2 milliseconds for the execution, 3 milliseconds for the executions. Okay, so it may be possible it's short interactive, it gives the poor response for such type of short interactive processes. So these are the advantages and disadvantages for the round robin algorithm. Okay, so summary of this lecture, we have learned about the round robin algorithm, how to define the quantum and how we are able to execute the process using the round robin algorithm. This type of examples can be asked in exam. So thank you for watching. We will meet in the next lecture with a new topic. Thank you.